happen?
I know. I have not fiddle-sticked with the settings, so I don't know.
Okay. All right, call our meeting order. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday, October 30th regular commission meeting. I will open our meeting with any public comment that's on a subject that's not on the agenda that the commission has jurisdiction. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Angie, do you want to go first, or Bill?
She's on the agenda.
You're on the agenda, so Bill, go first.
So I'd love to go first.
I see that.
Yeah, because it's not scheduled. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, ladies and gentlemen of the public. I'm Bill Giracchi. I'm the County Administrative Officer. I also serve as the Budget Director, and I come today to offer a update on the fiscal year 25 budget, which we are in fiscal year 2024-2025. As many of you know, we have established a new process for budgeting, and it includes quarterly updates with all the departments on the performance to date. The handout that I've just given you shows the 25 major departments that we monitor for this, and that's on the first page. And the second page, it shows the percentage of the budget that's been spent to date. I did want to remind you and the public that we have about a $15 million budget. Only $2,500,000 of that comes from floating property tax mills. So 17% of our budget comes from floating mills and the property tax. 83% of our budget comes from all other sources. All of us need to be aware of that as we think about changes in federal policy, changes in state taxation policy. Our county does very well with the very small amount of property tax we raise for ourselves. Now, those other sources of money are grants and contracts and voted mills, other contributions, fees that people pay. But the property tax component of this is very light. This year, our budget includes $883,000 from our cash balance, which is something that we're not going to be able to do year after year after year. So, if you go to the second page, the quarter the quarter that ended September 30th, first quarter, all of our departments that we monitor have spent about 21% of their budget. Some are a little bit higher than others because there are seasonal costs that are front-ended in their budget, but the good news is that we're about 3.68%, 7-8% shy of what we expected, 25% expenditures. If this were to last through the whole year, we'd end up with $364,000 less spent, which would be good because that would go against the $883,000 we're taking out of the cash balance. So the performance to date is great. I've met with all of the departments, many you have as well, and pretty pleased with the performance so far. The next report I'll give you will be right at the beginning of the year, after we review the second quarter, which ends on December 31st. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I just don't comment. I mean, this is great information. This is information we've really never had available. I shouldn't say we've had it available, but not in as easily a format to understand. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, may I make a comment real
You
quick?
may.
Thank you, first off, because like Commissioner Folkford said, this is so helpful, and I have found personally in the commission role having these quarterly budget meetings to be really helpful. It's keeping everybody accountable, good communication between departments. We can sniff out any issues well in advance of them becoming issues. This information would be available to the public if they requested it.
Yes.
Doing it, okay. So if anyone has questions on our budget, please get in touch with you or us. Either way, we can all sit down and talk about it, or that you will gladly explain it to them.
Happy to talk
correct?
about it.
And the last thing I want to just address is when I've had multiple people say to me, how is it possible that you guys, the taxes are what they are, and only 17% of your budget comes from, the property tax, shouldn't our taxes be going down? And, I want to remind people, and I always try and say this right, that the counties are limited in their growth to that half of the rate of inflation of the average for the past 3 years. So, and it's oftentimes our cost goes up with everything else. So it's not necessarily enough all the time.
Yeah. Another thing too, and you guys might have to help me remember it. On our website, they can track our budget real time through, what's it called?
Public view.
Public View.
Yes.
Public View, yeah. So that's available anytime.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other public comment? Any other public comment? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to our first agenda item. Angie Polson, Broadwater County Clerk and Recorder, General Election, Judge Appointments, and Election Update.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Angie Paulson, Paulsen, Broadwater County Clerk and Recorder and Election Administrator, here to present the 2024 amended appointment of election judges and polling places. We did this before the primary election. It's required by law. I train up judges. I do this 3-hour training, and then they take an oath of office. And typically we don't have to do this again before the general election, but I did have to change some things around and train up some more people. So I'm just, what I typically do is read this off. Mr. Chairman, would you like me to read this?
Please.
Okay. So the 2024 amended appointment of election judges and polling places pursuant to 13.4.101 and 13.3.105 Montana Code Annotated. The governing body of Broadwater County hereby appoints the following qualified registered election judges and designates the following polling places for the 2024 federal general election. Precinct number 1, Winston Fire Hall, 6467 Highway 287, Winston, Montana 59647. Lois Delger DeMars is the chief election judge. Other judges are Audrey Martin, Michelle Hobday Cheeseman, and Carol Lynn Taylor. Precinct number 7, Community Room, Broadwater High School, 201 North Spruce Street, Townsend, Montana 59644. Leon Kaufman is the chief election judge. Barry Albert, Edward Reagan, and Linda Ledger are other judges in Precinct 7. Precinct 11, Community Room, Broadwater High School, 201 North Spruce Street, Townsend, Montana 59644. Beverly Monagle is chief election judge. Mark, known as Doug Horrider, Julie Lethert, and Jan McAlpine are the other judges in Precinct 11. Precinct 12, Community Room, Broadwater High School, 201 North Spruce Street, Townsend, Montana 59644. Shirley Wilson is the chief election judge. Sheila Haverland, Tim Poole, Doris Mingay are the other judges. And then Ross Johnson is the provisional judge for that Community Room. He'll cover Precinct 7, Precinct 11, and Precinct 12. Provisional judge just has a little bit different duties than the regular judges. Precinct 13, Toston Fire Hall, 8852 Highway 287, Toston, Montana 59643. Ann Rouser is the chief election judge. Peter Reese, Sharon Rains Potenza, Kathy Fitch, and Ann Spiker are the other judges for Precinct 13. For my absentee counting board, we have that located at the Broadwater County Courthouse, 515 Broadway, Townsend, Montana, 59644, and that is Dina Gobbs. She is the chief election judge, Doreen Peters. And alternate judges that completed the election judge training are Deanne Flaws and Kim Smeltzer. Dated and effective this 30th day of October. And that's all I have for those appointments. Is there any questions on that?
No, I mean, thanks for offering the additional training, because I know there are some folks that were able to come in and give you a hand, so thanks for doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, few late nights for those. Got to work
Yeah.
around their work schedule, but yes, it is necessary, as you know.
Sure.
So, Mr. Chairman, I do have some updates if you would like to hear them on some election numbers. Oh, I'm sorry. You have to move to approve this
Yeah,
first.
Right.
Getting ahead of it.
Yep. Any other questions for Angie for comments?
I don't at this time.
Okay, is there a motion?
I would move to approve the 2024 amended appointment of election judges and polling places.
I will second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the 2024 amended appointment of election judges and polling places. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment?
I have a comment that I
Okay.
just noticed. Angie, there's just a very minor typo.
Yes, and you are the one to catch it. I know. Good. Thank you. I love this about
Did
you.
you just catch it too? At
I
the bottom
have-
of the page, it does not affect anything, but the bottom of it says Broadwater County Clerk and Recorder. You're missing a D.
God, how do you
Yes.
catch these?
I
Thank
don't
you.
know, it's a gift.
Oh, my word. Nice work.
So it doesn't affect anything, we can still sign it. But I want you to know in case
Thank
your
you.
other documents say that.
You're
too.
wonderful. Yes, 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 yes. Thanks, Deb.
Okay, that's why we have Deb.
Yes, she
She's our
is.
go-to.
You've all been wondering.
Where we
what
keep
we're
her
doing.
around.
We always bring our last document to
She's a
Debbie.
great proofreader, so thank you for that.
Kidding.
All right, any other comments or questions? No? Okay, if there are no further comments or questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
Okay.
You have something else to add?
Yes, I just wanted to give you a brief
Oh, yes.
update on
Thank you.
some statistics. This is, again, my favorite part. Broadwater County currently has 6,000 registered voters, which is quite an increase from our last election. The number of ballots that we've accepted so far for this federal general election, by accepted ballots, I mean signatures that have been verified when those ballots are brought in. The number for that is 2,375. So that is a 62% received. Just to give you a little bit of an idea of what we received for the primary was overall was 46%. So we're at 62% already for the general, and I do expect that number to be quite a bit higher. I'm going to guess around 80% or more overall, but don't quote me on that. And just to give you another idea, the state average is 59%, so we are above the state average. So that's really exciting. I just hope that the county continues to bring in their ballots. Just another little fun fact for you. The amount of ballots that have been absentee that have been received across the state is 312,000, and 529 290 ballots have been sent across the state. And just a few reminders that the courthouse will be closed on Tuesday, November 5th for Election Day, but open for elections only. So no other offices will be available that day. Our office will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And the polling places that I just read out loud will also be in the newspaper this Friday if any of our voters need to go look at that up. And it is also on my website if people have questions on their polling location and the address. Also to be published in our paper of record this Friday, Montana 43 News, will be a picture of the voting diagram. So the machine, people have questions or they've never experienced that. We do have machines at every polling location, so people will have to vote their ballot and then put it through the machine. And so that diagram is helpful. It just helps them see what they're walking into and using. There will also be a sample ballot in the paper as well. We have one on our website, or you can stop by and grab a sample ballot for those of you who have not voted yet. And ballots can be hand-delivered to my office in the courthouse, 515 Broadway, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Those hours, like I said, are extended on Election Day at our courthouse and also every precinct polling location from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Election Day. So Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., bring those to my office, your ballots to my office, and on Election Day, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can bring those to the courthouse or any precinct if you want to drop off your absentee ballot. I hope that made sense. Does that make sense there? Okay. Also, some reminders that our post-election audit will be conducted November 14th, 8:30 a.m. right here in the Flynn Building. And the canvass of votes will be November 18th right here in the Flynn Building at 9 a.m. And that's all I have, unless you have questions.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
Angie, if someone still wants to register to vote, what do they do?
Awesome question. They need to come to our office and present an ID, and depending on their status, if they're inactive, we'll tell them what they need to do to reactivate. Sometimes they have to fill out a voter registration form, and then we'll get them reactivated. And we can issue them their ballot at our office. They can vote it at the office right there and hand it in to us. Okay. Unless they want to be a polling place voter, then we get them updated, active, and registered.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
If someone wanted to pick up a ballot for someone else, I know there's lots of different rules around that. They need to contact you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that is typically not what we do. You need to come get your own ballot. There are some circumstances that they have to fill out a form, and I have to see IDs and certain signatures, and so there is a long process for that, but we can make it happen in certain circumstances.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good question. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, can you just clarify? So much talk about the elections this year, I don't need to tell you that. Sorry. Are you counting votes now?
We are not. We do not count votes. State law says that counties cannot access those ballots until some counties that are bigger, we're on the cuff. We're almost there, guys. We're close. But you can start sorting ballots the day before election, meaning we can open the secrecy envelopes and separate the ballot from those secrecy envelopes. That's the day before, but that is actually only done by your absentee counting board. I don't actually do that. My staff doesn't do that. That's an absentee counting board. So that is done the day before election. And then it's legally noticed when the absentee counting begins, which is election day for us. And if people want to observe that process, they have to be sworn in by oath, and they have to stay there all day till the end of the day until the counting's done. So there are several laws surrounding that.
Thank you for that clarification.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are not counting votes yet. We are only accepting ballots right now, looking at signatures, making sure that those signatures match what we have on file. And if they do not, we reject them, and we have had to reject a few. And then we contact those people, and they come in and show us their ID and sign in front of us.
Okay, perfect.
So,
And you guys are also going to be, you were lucky winners. You get to be watched, right? Isn't there a group auditing?
Correct, yes. So Broadwater County is one of 15 counties that was selected to be observed by a observation committee across the state of Montana for this election. So we will have people assigned to us during the opening of the ballots and just our whole process from beginning to end. So,
And it was just a random selection, I'm assuming that they did.
yeah, I think they were trying to reach different demographics. So, you know, I'm sure they picked one of the big seven, a couple of those counties, and then some of the smaller counties, and then we're, you know, medium-sized counties. So they wanted to, and they're all statewide. They're all over the state. So. Also, Mr. Chairman, I did want to mention this, that the day before election, which is from 12 to 5, we do not accept anything with registrations. That is state law. Okay. So people need to know that if you're going to register or update your registration Monday, the day before election from 12 to 5, that is not possible. So if you can, please come to our office this week and get that taken care of. The reason for that is the time that is set aside for us to print our registers for our polling places. And our register is where people come and show their ID and sign in. So we have to print those registers. We can't be having transactions take place. We don't want somebody to miss their name from that book. So,
Awesome job. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hang in there.
Thank you,
All
guys.
election
Thank
staff,
you,
yeah.
commissioners, for your support.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys so much.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks to you and your staff. I know that you guys are getting tired already. And,
Yeah.
only another week left, so hang in there now.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I appreciate it. That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, next on the agenda, Public Works Director TJ Gravy, resolution for purchase of 2020 Peterbilt 348 hook truck, $170,675.
Good morning, Commissioners. TJ Gravely, Public Works Director, GRAVELEY. So as you guys know, I am in the works of working on an intercap loan with the people in Helena. And one of the provisions of that is there has to be a resolution set in place by the Board of Commissioners. So if you would like, I can read that into record or portion of it, and then I've got several places for you guys to sign, and I suggest that as many places as there is to sign, I suggest that you guys do it at a later time because there's a lot of
Thank you.
signatures.
Before you get started, one thing, I see some people have come in after our meeting started. There is a sign-in in the corner of the room. Please sign in if you haven't signed in. Tell us a little bit about what you're purchasing.
Well, I am purchasing a 2020 Peterbilt 348 hook truck in a place called St. Cloud, Minnesota for a Carco company. We decided to go with the used option because just because it's new doesn't mean it's better. It fit our budget a lot better if we went with a used product. A new product, as I've mentioned in the past, is over $300,000 now. Our hook truck that we have currently is a 2007 Sterling that is definitely on its last legs. We have put a lot of money into it. That truck will be used as a backup and probably go through the public process of getting rid of our current backup that is very underpowered and no heat, no air conditioner. Air conditioner really doesn't matter right now, but the heat coming into this time of year really is kind of important fact.
Okay.
Through the Board of Investments, I guess it is. This is scheduled to be closed November 15th. All this documentation has to be in Helena by the 7th. So, moving forward, I'll read probably the top portion of this resolution because a lot of it that is in there is definitions moving forward. So it says resolution relating to $170,675 solid waste revenue bond series 2024 authorizing the issuance, awarding the sale and fixing the terms and conditions thereof and creating a special fund and accounts and pledging certain revenues as security thereof. One of the things that needs to be on here in this first part is this interest rate is at 5.75. This interest rate is a variable interest rate and it will be adjusted every February 16th, I believe is what it is. The payment schedule on this will be twice a year. I think it is in August and in February, I believe is what it is.
How long's the term?
7 years.
Okay.
7-year term. Yeah. It is completed 2/15 of 32. So this was one of the requirements that was done by the Board of Investments for you guys to act on, to discuss and make a decision possibly.
All right.
Is there any questions?
Let's see, so, which resolution you want to do first?
Let's do the one I just.
Yeah, let's do.
Let's do that one first. The one that I just read. So let's do the resolution for the $170,675.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a quick question?
Yes, you may.
And either TJ or maybe Mr. Shockey could help answer this. We're going to do this intercap loan. Is this coming out of the CIP for this equipment?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Rickmeyer, it's not coming out of the CIP, it's coming out of the budget for the Solid Waste Department. We have budgeted for all of our equipment a certain amount, and it's in the budget, it's not in the CIP.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, go ahead.
Actually, Commissioner Folkford, I should read the first one.
Okay.
This is a certificate as a resolution of adopting the vote. And it says, I, the undersigned, being a duly qualified and acting recording officer for Broadwater County of Broadwater County, Montana, the insurer hereby certify that the attached resolution is a true copy of the resolution number. Resolution relating to $170,675 solid waste revenue bond series 2024 authorizing the issuance and awarding the sale and fixing the terms and conditions thereof and creating a special fund and accounts and pledging certain revenues as security thereof. The resolution on file in the original records of the insurer in my legal custody.
Chairman Fulford, sorry to interject.
Yes, go ahead.
Chairman Fulford, Kaylin Minor, Deputy County Attorney. This is a certificate that needs to be signed by either Angie Paulson as our County Clerk and Recorder. It doesn't take official action by the Board of the Commissioners. So it's important to know that we will be certifying that a vote was taken. However, we cannot certify a vote was taken prior to you all taking a vote and making an adoption of the resolution. And I will note that the resolution is 10 pages long. It will take a considerable amount of time to be read into the record. But after that, you may, this certificate may be completed. And additionally, there's one more thing I wanted to say about The commission does need to act, sir, if able to do so today, about the sole source procurement policy and the county's adherence to that policy. Thank you to TJ for making all those documentations.
Okay. All right, so, I guess it's been read into the record. I guess it's up to Angie to sign this, correct? Is that what you said?
Chairman Fulford, yes, upon action being taken by your commission, then Angie may certify that the action was taken.
Okay. So is our vote going to be to allow Angie to sign it? I guess I'm not sure what you're asking.
There was no reason, sir, for that to be brought up at this time. What I would advise you all to do is to actually read into record, if that's the process you would like to do, the full text of the resolution, and then you can make a decision whether or not to approve the resolution. That's the resolution, the one, the 10-page document. That needs to have an action item, and it is noticed up for action, as well as that sole source procurement policy needs an official vote to approve or deny, sir.
All right, so I guess this has been read into the record. Is that right?
He did read it. We don't need to vote on. Mr. Chair, may I ask, Deputy County Minor, these are all just definitions?
That is incorrect. It's actually a full-blown resolution. Now,
Okay.
there's about 5 pages of definitions, Chairman Fulford.
Okay.
But it is the resolution in its entirety, and traditionally they are read in its entirety. However, it has been accurately posted online, and it has been available for public review and comment, and we will be able to take public comment later on should anything arise. So it's a discretionary call on the commission's part for the actual reading.
All right. I don't see any need to read 9 pages of resolution. Let's read the first portion of it, please. The first portion of this
Just the
resolution relating to
Resolution relating to $170,675 solid waste revenue bond series 2024, authorizing the issuance, awarding the sale, and fixing the terms and conditions thereof, and creating the special funds and accounts, and pledging certain revenues as a security thereof. Be it resolved by the governing body of the Broadwater County, the Insurer, Montana, as follows: Section 1, definitions, authorizations, and findings.
That's fine.
Yeah. I'm fine with just the, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, go ahead.
It's been posted.
It has been posted.
So I don't think anybody wants to sit here and listen to 10
No.
pages, not 9, 10.
Not
So
yet.
if it's appropriate, I would move to approve the resolution to, the resolution for purchase of a 2020 Peterbilt 348 hook truck for $170,675.
I will second that.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the resolution for the purchase of a 2020 Peterbilt 348 hook truck for the amount of $170,675. Any public discussion? Any public discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, TJ, move on to the sole source procurement
Okay.
document.
So Appendix B is sole source procurement justification. I'll give you an overview of why we did what we did. Anything over $100,000, according to our procurement policy, if I can't go out to bids or something like that, I have to have a competitive search, I guess is how it would be. And as I talked to you guys, I think it was 2-3 weeks ago, I showed you guys the hook trucks that we had available, and all of them have sold since we could finish the competitive bid process. My justification behind that is that if we continue to wait, we're going to miss out on this one as well. I did have all this paperwork I have in front of me for you guys. This was actually one of the other things that the Intercap board wanted from us as the final piece of this puzzle, I guess. As I've said before, this is a specialty item. It's not like I can go to Peterbilt or Kenworth and pick up this truck. They're not readily available. Everything that we had found up to this point was on the eastern seaboard or in Texas, so you're looking at 1,900 to 2,000 miles away. We did find this truck that we just approved right now in St. Cloud, Minnesota, and which is considerably closer. One of the things that I looked at in doing this was make, model, mileage, availability, and if it was compatible and the useful life of it. This truck actually has 56,000 miles on it. It's a 4-year-old truck. You're not going to find one that is cleaner with that many miles on it, or that few of miles on it. The trucks that we found previously to this had a lot more miles on it, with the exception of one that sold almost immediately before we could even get this off the ground. This will serve our solid waste department for, I believe we have this set up for about 15 years for useful life. The paperwork, I'll probably just hand you this paperwork. As far as the signatures, you guys have already signed this. This just needs to be signed by the county attorney now for an act of moving forward. But when I came to you guys and I asked you guys what was the maximum I could spend, or I asked you, can I spend up to $200,000? And that was voted on yes, that it implemented using this sole source. So that's kind of where we're at on that.
Okay. And just for the record, you did make that presentation to us, what, 3 weeks ago?
2 to 3 weeks ago, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's on, I can't remember when it was for positive.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's the tough part of this special built equipment. It's like you said, it's not readily available, and I know that you've had the challenge of sourcing them, and so I guess we'll hopefully move forward. Any other questions, comments for TJ?
Are they delivering it, TJ? I never asked you that.
It is not being delivered. It is being delivered to Fargo. If we get much later into the year, we might have to have it delivered because, as you guys well know, North Dakota gets a little rough a little later on in the year.
Mm-hmm.
Right now we are scheduling or looking at flying out one-way ticket to North Dakota, picking up the truck and driving it back.
I think also they did some additional work for us, some requirements that we had, added a fuel tank and some stuff.
They
right?
did. It had a 55-gallon fuel tank on it. One of the requirements I asked them to do was put a 100-gallon fuel tank on, wire it all in or plumb it all in.
Okay.
And they're in the process of doing, doing that right now. So once this is funded, the truck will be ready to go.
Right, good. And how much longer is the process with the Board of Investments after, if this is approved today?
Well, according to the paperwork I have, it says it'll close on the 15th, but when will it be funded? My guess is it'll be 2 to 3 weeks after that.
Okay, very good. All right, I don't have any other questions.
I don't have it.
Anybody else? All right. All right, I guess,
Do you want me to just leave this packet with you guys now and I'll pick it up? Or do you want me to just
you just hold on to it.
hold on to it?
So we need to, I think we need a motion to approve the sole source purchasing.
It's the document,
Yeah,
title
document.
of the document.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just sole source purchase agreement? I don't have that.
Procurement justification.
Yeah.
Procurement justification, okay. I move to approve the sole source procurement justification document for the hook truck. Do we need a cost?
I will second that motion.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve the sole source procurement justification document. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
TJ.
Okay. Were you going to call Mark and have him come on, get on the phone?
I can, Chairman Folkboard, or I was going to wait until Operation Greenlight resolution discussion began. So I
That
will.
only takes a second.
Okay.
Okay, next on our agenda is the Operation Greenlight for Veterans. Commissioner Randolph, would you like to? read
I
that for us?
would be honored to.
Thank you.
Worked on this the last 3 years, and there will be a press release in the newspaper, the local paper, this Friday, explaining this in case you've missed it for the last 2 years. And I'm just going to read the resolution. Supporting Operation Greenlight for Veterans. Whereas the residents of Broadwater County have great respect, admiration, and the utmost gratitude for all men and women who have selflessly served our country and this community in the armed forces. And whereas the contributions and sacrifices of those who served in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and the way of life enjoyed by our citizens. And whereas Broadwater County seeks to honor individuals who have made countless sacrifices for freedom by placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all. And whereas veterans continue to serve our country in the American Legion, veterans of foreign wars, religious groups, and civic service, and by functioning as county veteran service officers in 29 states to help fellow former service members access more than $52 million in federal health, disability, compensation benefits each year. And whereas 200,000 service members transition to civil communities annually, and whereas an estimated 20% increase of service members will transition to civilian life in the near future. Whereas studies indicate that 44 to 72% of service members experience high levels of stress during the transition from military life to civilian life. And whereas active military service members transitioning from military service are at a high risk for suicide during their first year after military service. And whereas the National Association of Counties encourages all counties, parishes, and boroughs to recognize Operation Greenlight for veterans. And whereas Broadwater County appreciates the sacrifices of our United States military personnel and believes sufficient recognition should be granted, therefore be it resolved. With designation as a green light for Veterans County, Broadwater County hereby declares from November 4th through Veterans Day, November 11th, 2024, a time to salute and honor the service and sacrifices of our men and women in uniform transitioning from active service. Therefore, be it further resolved that in observance of Operation Greenlight, Broadwater County encourages its citizens in patriotic tradition to recognize the importance of honoring all those who have made immeasurable sacrifices to preserve freedom by displaying green lights in their window of their place of business or residence from November 4th through November 11th, 2024.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
And the county will be lit up. I think that the maintenance crew has green lights again.
Yep.
I know I found mine last night from last year.
Yep.
So it's as simple as I found mine at Target or Walmart or whatever.
Great. Small token of our appreciation. All right, anything else?
I was just letting her know this keeps popping up more and more missed calls.
That's because he's trying to call Chairman Fulford.
Yeah, and I knew Ken had said there were issues with this a while ago, but I don't know if we need to call him possibly.
Okay. All right, well, let's finish this resolution. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the supporting Operation Greenlight for Veterans resolution.
I will second that motion.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the resolution supporting Operation Greenlight for Veterans. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Deb, if you want to go ahead and just, we can sign yours.
Oh,
We'll
yeah, I
just
think
start
I've
it
got a
this way.
clean copy.
Oh, yeah.
There was a notice on here that said do not disturb mode is on, so I just turned that off. You might want to try it one more time.
Okay.
I don't know what happened. See if it works.
Hi, Mr. Taylor, you're going to be on telephone now.
I took this off. It was on do not disturb.
Chairman Fulford, we have present Mr. Mark Taylor from HAB Development. He's the representative for them, and they are a party to the next item of business, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, Mark, for joining us. Okay. I think, Kay, you've been a big part of this. If you would like to present this, please.
Absolutely, Chairman Fulford. I wasn't expecting that, but let me pull that document up, and I will go read that into the record.
Here, take mine.
Sure thing. Chairman Fulford, Commissioners, Clerk and Recorder, and public, we are possibly entering into a very exciting new program that has been developed by the state. Specifically, the governor had a task force, and Mark can actually speak more to this in the question and answer section. But we are looking to hopefully increase the ability of middle income wage earners to make down payment assistance on homes, on purchasing of homes here in Broadwater County. So we're very excited about that possibility. And I will go ahead and read the resolution and then let Mr. Taylor and the commissioners ask questions. So this is a resolution to affirmatively participate in the Montana Community Reinvestment Plan by identifying and approving HAB Development Corporation as Broadwater County's community reinvestment organization. Whereas the Broadwater County Board of County Commissioners recognizes every community within Broadwater County has been impacted by a lack of affordable, attainable workforce housing, which in turn has led to a variety of issues for constituents and businesses. Whereas the state of Montana, through enactment of House Bill 819, has established the Montana Community Reinvestment Plan, which is an innovative public-private platform to help middle-class income earners find an attainable pathway to owning their own home. The MCRP program calls for formation of a community reinvestment organization to provide facilitated assistance for workforce housing and related services within Montana, and to which state money is allocated based on a county's gross domestic product. Whereas the MCRP program will provide the opportunity to meet significant community development needs and will enhance economic stability within Broadwater County. Whereas HAB Development Corporation is a 501c3 charitable organization that was founded in 1994 and is directly affiliated with Homefront, which is the largest municipal housing authority in the state of Montana. HAB qualifies as a CRO pursuant to the statutory requirements of HB 819. Each CRO must establish a revolving fund which holds the state's allocation. Each county must opt in the MCRP program by choosing one CRO within which to participate. Whereas the Commission believes, after examining the program materials and considering the needs and potential benefits to its residents, participation in the MCRP program is important to the continued health, welfare, and economic prosperity of Broadwater County's constituents and businesses. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Broadwater County Board of County Commissioners selects HAB Development Corporation as its chosen community reinvestment organization for purposes of participation in the Montana Community Reinvestment Plan. Now, therefore, be it further resolved that the Broadwater County Board of County Commissioners is prepared to work with regional governmental partners and interested stakeholders to support HAB with its undertaking to effectively and efficiently implement housing solutions for eligible participants in Broadwater County.
All right, thank you very much. It's my understanding, in order for us to participate in this program, we have to select a community reinvestment organization. Is that correct?
You are correct, Chairman Folkford, and that is what is required out of HB 819. And that's a simple yes or no. If you need more clarification, we can get Mr. Taylor to weigh in too. Yeah. But that is the yes or no on that. And if we don't opt in, for example, if the county chooses not to, in that case, then those monies that are allocated to our county, which is $170,000 for this program, off the bat, then that money would kind of stay in the pool and be assessed to other counties who do choose to opt in.
Okay. I think there was some question on the match.
We did have a question on the match, and the match will be covered by private firms in this with regards to HAB's Development Corporation. I would very much like to let Mr. Mark Taylor, who is a representative of HAB Development Corporation, I'd like to let him answer that more sufficiently regarding any additional information he has about making a match by the county.
Okay, very good.
Sure. Good morning, Commission, and I apologize that I'm not able to be there in person. Maybe just some additional background information relative to our firm and our involvement with the Montana Community Reinvestment Plan. We were the principal proponents behind the enactment of the bill during the 2023 legislative session, and ultimately House Bill 819 was the final bill left standing to deal with workforce housing issues in general. And as a part of that, the legislature and the governor approved of allocating $50 million towards this program. And that $50 million is broken up by GDP based on the county. And the bill, the primary bill sponsor was Paul Green, who is now the Department of Commerce Director. And it was really important to then Representative Green that the state's smaller counties not get left behind as a part of this housing program. All too often, the bigger counties or bigger cities in Montana tend to be the primary beneficiaries of those types of decisions at a state level. And it was really important for him, who comes from Bighorn County, to make sure rural counties in Montana could also, on an equal basis, participate in the program, which is why it was broken down on GDP. So if you think about it as applied to Broadwater County's allocation of roughly $170,000, it's really inviting over $1 million in housing-related construction and related activities. And from HAB development standpoint, we viewed this as effectively phase one of just standing up our statewide platform. And there's going to be significant additional opportunities, which are frankly contemplated in House Bill 819, but won't technically likely need any additional government money. If you look at House Bill 819, which Kaylin has researched independently of the materials we provided, and it really calls for participation in a statewide employer pool, which will create even additional opportunities for both the employers in Broadwater County and the employees on a going forward basis. Relative to the match, the match that HAB Development has secured, and they've secured more than $50 million of private investment to allow every county in the state of Montana to participate in the MCRP program. And again, we view this as just the kind of first phase of standing up this program. We're coordinating with local banks on the creation of a mortgage product that is tailored to the statutory requirements of the MCRP program. And on behalf of Patty Webster, who is a very well-known and respected professional in the housing world, she wanted to make sure that by her going out and researching and obtaining the matching monies, that she wanted to make sure to extend it to every county in the state, because she is a very passionate person when it comes to trying to find housing solutions, especially in the tough climate that we're in today. So the short on the match is we have documented source, and I'm happy to share that with Kaylin as to the source of those matching funds. And relative to HAB development, I view us as kind of the bird in the hand. We have the funds, we have the professional services that are being created, we have the working relationships with lending institutions to implement the program. And again, this is just phase one of a much larger opportunity for the businesses, employees, and citizens of Broadwater County.
All right, great, Mark. Thank you very much. And maybe real briefly, if someone was interested in it, where would they start and how would they qualify?
Did you hear that question, Mr. Taylor? Where would someone start and how would they qualify if they're interested in participating in this program?
So our strategy, once counties opt in with HAB development and we get through the end of the year, which is the final, when we'll have a final allocation of the dollar amount, because if counties choose not to participate, Broadwater County's allocation could actually grow. We are in the process of retaining additional community engagement services, where we will actually sit down and work with local stakeholders at the county level to identify the types of things that are important to them at a county level. And then through that application process, we're really looking to also utilize the economic development organizations and or local chambers or stakeholders in general to initiate the process. We will likely have our mortgage product up in Q1 of 2025. So at that point, it'll be just a application process, and we will, through our community engagement outreach, create a very public-facing option and opportunity, and we could work with your county administrative office to post those notices, et cetera, and how people can apply and participate in the program. But we'll get a much better line of sight into what you guys want to do at a local level as we initiate that community engagement process.
All right, thank you for that. Any thoughts or questions? The commission?
Just two thoughts. This is a really exciting way to help people get into their first home. And I just want to be clear that these are not any county funds being used for this program. I'm sure we'll be asked that, so hopefully that will be clear. It's not coming out of our budget.
Okay.
I guess if I'm understanding correctly, the way the program would work, just because we've done some research, but public may not know, the way the program would work is essentially the program will help somebody looking to buy a home with that down payment, correct? And they are limited in what they can sell. They could sell that home down the road, but they are limited in the growth of that because that down payment assistance was given, correct?
Chairman Folkford, in response to Commissioner Rick Meyer's question, yes, this is a down payment assistance program. I would ask Mr. Mark Taylor to weigh in on the specifics of how they may realize, if they go to sell a home in the future, how they may realize benefits, because they will not realize it in 100% as you would in a normal transactional situation. So if Mr. Taylor can address more specifically how that would work. And that is all statutory, or it's all bill language, so this is not anything that hasn't already been discussed. I just want to leave it to the expert. Mr. Taylor, could you address that, sir?
Sure. As a part of the program, if you think about it as to the closing on a house, we're effectively taking the state's 15% and then the private matching 15%, which is basically 30%, and that money is used to buy down the mortgage on the purchase price of the house. So the homeowner effectively doesn't have to come up with any down payment to get into that house. The trade-off, and it's in the statute, is that they then are only eligible for a 1% equity increase per year that they're in the home. And so that's the trade-off. And the other significant piece within the bill is that what they are capped at paying for under the terms of that mortgage can be no more than 30% of their annual household income, including taxes and insurance. So it's there's a lot of and unfortunately there's a lot of employees across the state of Montana that are paying 40-50% of their income on rent today. And one of the unique attributes of the Montana Community Reinvestment Plan is that it's capped at 30%. But the trade-off for that is the fact that their equity position in a resale situation is capped at 1% per year of equity that they're in the home.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Any thoughts or questions?
No.
I think I have some for later when this program gets off the ground, and we'll ask those questions then. Okay.
All right.
If there are no other comments or questions, is there a motion?
I move to approve the resolution to affirmatively participate in the Montana Community Reinvestment Plan by identifying and approving HAB Development Corporation as Broadwater County's community reinvestment organization.
I will second that motion.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve a resolution to affirmatively participate in the Montana Community Reinvestment Plan by identifying and approving HAB, which stands for Housing Authority of Billings Development Corporation, as Broadwater County's reinvestment organization. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I just want to thank Mr. Taylor for working with us and partnering with us. This is exciting.
It's a good start to something to help with housing.
Maybe we just need to find, what's the new word? It's not affordable housing. What's the new word?
Attainable.
Attainable housing.
Attainable. We just need more houses as well. Available houses. Stipulate that.
Okay. Next on the agenda, Montana Association of Counties member cybersecurity and technology services agreement with Broadwater County. All right, who's been working on that the most? Lindsay, Debbie?
Toss.
It's
a-
been
Kind of a toss-up.
tag team.
Yeah.
You guys have been working on it more than I have, so whoever would like to take that.
I'll just get started, jump in. This has been a long process. In short, we are changing our internet provider, our network, our firewalls, all these words that I did not understand 6 months ago. Luckily, MCT, which is Montana Association of Counties member Cybersecurity and Technology Services, has partnered with us, and we've had many meetings. This is a contract for email security, remote support, everything that the county uses every single minute of the day. New computers, we can get through them, the IT service desk. Our current contract with DIS will end November 30th. In the meantime, after the election, MCT will be on staff, come into the building, I shouldn't say on staff, come into the building and get started. Other counties are using them with wonderful recommendations, and we waited a little bit, just we didn't want to be the test, and talked to several other commissioners, and they're very, very satisfied with the product and their service. So this is $2,786.18 a month for 12 months. It is less expensive, and I am convinced 100% better service than what we are currently getting. This dollar amount may change as they get in and count exactly everything they need. If that does change, we will come back and revise this contract with MCT. But they will start the process November 12th, I think it is.
Yeah, perfect. I think another important reason why we waited is we wanted to wait till after the election was completed. We didn't want any monkeying around going on in our system until after that.
Yeah.
Sure. Angie appreciates that, yeah.
Yes, sure, I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so.
But I think this is going to save us. It's going to save us a
It
fair
is
amount of money
going to
as
save
well.
us, yeah.
As I said, it's going to be less expensive and better service and better security. So it's a win-win, as the saying
True.
goes.
And also looking at the future, they're working on a telecom
Yes.
assessment. Well, actually, assessment's been done, so that will save us some additional money as well, yeah, in the future.
So right now we have a lot going on technology basis with TextMyGov. We will have a new website. We will have this. We will have a telephone assessment. So 2025 is going to look better and be less expensive for the county and the residents, the employees and the residents is my point.
Okay. Anything else? All right, is there a motion?
I move to approve the Montana Association of Counties Member Cybersecurity and Technology Services Agreement.
I will, do you want to state the dollar amount?
I have mine's like updated, so I don't know which dollar amount do you have on yours?
As I stated, I have $2,786.18.
I have a different one that I think Ken had sent. That was a little bit more because she added in those extra 6 machines,
Then
but she
use that
aimed
statement.
high. Okay. And she had just, that was for the, it was an estimated number on the cloud backup for the machine. So it's a little high. She went high, but we might not need
Okay,
it.
what's that number?
That number is $3,112.16.
I'll second that motion.
You said 16 cents?
Yes.
Okay. All right, motion has been made and seconded to approve the Montana Association of Counties Member Cybersecurity and Technology Services Agreement, the amount of $3,112.16 monthly. Any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll sign that in the office. There's a lot of dates and things on there, so in the interest of moving on, we'll do that later on. Okay, first. Okay, next on the agenda, Nicole Brown, Community Development Planning, Fourth Boundary Relocation Exemption Request.
Excuse me. Good morning, Commissioners, members of the public. Nicole Brown, Broadwater County Community Development Director and Planner, here to present the Fourth Nestland Boundary Relocation. I realize on your agenda it does state Fourth Boundary Relocation. I just want to note that these parcels are owned by both Matthew Fourth and Sarah Nestland. So you should have in your possession a copy of the certificate of survey, the affidavit, and my staff report, which I will read into the record now. So this is a staff report for a boundary relocation for Fourth Nestland. This is to the Broadwater County Commissioners from myself. The deadline for the County Commissioners or the governing body to take action is November 7th, 2024. The applicants are Matthew Fourth and Sarah Nestland of Toston, Montana. Executive summary. The exemption request, as presented to the Broadwater County Commissioners, is a proposal to amend 2 lots utilizing a boundary relocation exemption. Matthew Fourth and Sarah Nestland are proposing a boundary relocation between 2 parcels owned by both of them jointly. Currently, Matthew and Sarah own 2 parcels, amended parcel 1 and amended parcel 2 of COS 2-736. Amended parcel 1 is currently 220.91 acres in size, and amended parcel 2 is currently 100.02 acres. The westerly boundary of amended tract 2 is intended to relocate further west. If this exemption is granted, amended parcel 1 will be known as the second amended parcel 1 and be 38.34 acres in size, and amended parcel 2 will be known as the second amended parcel 2 and become 282.59 acres in size. Boundary relocation statutes. Montana Code Annotated 763207-1A provides for divisions made outside of platted subdivisions for the purpose of relocating common boundary lines between adjoining properties. Montana Code Annotated 764103 provides sanitation exemptions for parcels greater than 20 acres in size, exclusive of public roadways, are not subject to Department of Environmental Quality review. Request. According to the affidavit, the owners of the parcels are requesting approval of the use of the boundary relocation exemption to decrease the acreage around the existing home on proposed second amended parcel 1 and increase the acreage on proposed second amended parcel 2 for agricultural purposes. Location. The properties are located off Bradley Road in Section 14, Township 5 North, Range 1 East, approximately 2.5 miles east of the town site of Radersburg, Montana. Existing development and uses. There is one home on amended Parcel 1, and amended Parcel 2 is vacant farm ground. Adjacent land use in all directions is agricultural. Project uses. Wastewater. Both parcels are and will continue to be subject to review and/or approval from the Environmental Health Office and subject to 1736-9 of the Administrative Rules of Montana, ARM. One septic system is installed on amended Parcel 1. Since no parcels nor structures are being proposed, there will be no additional review required by the Broadwater County Environmental Health Officer other than to ensure the appropriate sanitation exemptions are cited on the proposed COS. Access. The property is located directly south of Bradley Road. If any additional approaches are to be installed, the landowners will be required to apply for a county road approach permit from the Broadwater County Public Works Department, since Bradley Road is a county road. Water. One residential well is installed for the existing home site. Public health and safety. There is an undefined waterway running east-west through both parcels, but it should not have an adverse effect on public health and safety. Conclusion. Pursuant to 763207-1 MCA, which states, unless the method of disposition is adopted for the purpose of evading this chapter, the following divisions or aggregations of tracts of record of any size, regardless of the resulting size of any lot created by the division or aggregation, are not subdivisions under this chapter, but are subject to the surveying requirements of 763401 for divisions or aggregations of land other than subdivision, and are subject to applicable zoning regulations adopted under Title 76, Chapter 2, Sub-Item A, which states, divisions made outside of platted subdivisions for the purpose of relocating common boundary lines between adjoining properties. No structures are being transferred through this proposed boundary location. There is an existing 30-foot wide county road easement along the northern boundary of both parcels for the county road, Bradley Road. No other easements exist on these properties. And that concludes my report.
Okay. I mean, a couple things. So in the last statement, you said it's a 30-foot county-wide road easement. On the COS, it says it's 60-foot wide.
So all 60 feet are on this property?
Okay.
Okay.
And it should be 60 feet.
Well, it's 60-foot road easement, but are all 60 feet
Oh, I
on
see
this
what you're saying.
property?
So that's
I'm
the
sorry. So
clarification.
maybe that was the confusion.
Yes.
30 feet on this property. So maybe,
To the center line of the road.
so there's an existing 30-foot wide county road easement along the northern boundary
Okay.
of both
So
parcels.
the other 30 feet is on the
Is on the adjoining property to the
Okay,
north.
Very good. Another thing that I guess I want to make clear, because we've had this property before us before. Bradley Road is a county road, but is a non-maintained county road. So just so everybody knows that.
Thank you for that. Yes.
Okay. I have no other questions or comments.
I don't either. Mike, I was confused with the 30 and 60 also, so
Okay.
that was my only.
Just because it says 60-foot wide, but it doesn't say 30-foot easement. So,
That's all right.
I know.
We
I know.
understand.
It's all, we got it.
We understand.
And, Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes.
Megan Bullock, our sanitarian, had no questions on this. It's always good to have that in the record.
All right, then other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
I would move to approve the boundary both Nestland boundary relocation.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded to approve the Fourth boundary location exemption request. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, next on our agenda, Darbit Smith Court Order Division exemption request.
All All right, Commissioners, Nicole Brown, Broadwater County Community Development Director and Planner. You should have in front of you a copy of the proposed certificate of survey, a copy of the court order for Mr. Smith and Ms. Tarbett, and a copy of the affidavit. Also a copy of your staff report. So I will be reading that into the record now. This is a staff report for a court order division for Tarbett Smith. This is to the Broadwater County Commissioners from myself, Nicole Brown. The deadline for the governing body to take action is November 4th, 2024. The applicants are Randall Smith and Cheryl Tarbett. Executive summary. The exemption request as presented to the Broadwater County Commissioners is a proposal to create 2 lots from an existing lot utilizing the court-ordered division exemption. Mr. Smith and Ms. Tarbett jointly own an existing 20-acre parcel with a home and a shop. They are requesting to split the parcel in half so each of them have their own 10-acre parcel. Mr. Smith will own Lot B1A, which has the home, and Ms. Tarbett will own Lot B1B, which has the shop home. On October 23, 2020, the District Court Judge in Broadwater County issued an amended decree granting the front 10 acres at 41 Grandview Loop to Ms. Tarbett. On August 15, 2022, the District Court Judge in Broadwater County issued a second amended decree of dissolution to provide precise location and boundary information, and thereby stating Lot B1B be transferred to Ms. Tarbett. Court Order Division Statutes. Montana Code Annotated 763201-1A provides for parcels created by order of any court of record in the state of Montana. Since the proposed parcels are being created by court-ordered division, they are exempt from sanitary review. Therefore, no DEQ nor Environmental Health Office review and approval is required. Request. The owners of the parcels are requesting approval of the use of the court-ordered division exemption to allow each party individual ownership of the shared property. Location. The properties are located off Grandview Loop and U.S. Highway 287 in Section 11, Township 7 North, Range 1 East. These properties are approximately 3.9 miles northwest of the city of Townsend, Montana. Existing development and uses. The existing parcel has 1 residential structure and 1 commercial or shop structure. Adjacent land use to the north is residential subdivision. To the east is U.S. Highway and agricultural. To the south is residential subdivision. And to the west is railroad and public lands. Project uses. Wastewater. Since the court-ordered division exemption is being utilized, none of the properties will be subject to DEQ review and approval, even though both parcels will become less than 20 acres in size. Both structures are utilizing approved septic systems. Access. Both properties may have direct access to Grandview Loop, a subdivision road. Lot B1B may have access onto U.S. Highway 12 East. I want to note there on the plat, it's identified as U.S. Highway 12 East. In Broadwater County, we identify that as U.S. Highway 287. But I'm referring to the plat. So I'm going to reread that sentence, Lot B1B may have access onto U.S. Highway 12 East, but prior to an approach being constructed, the owner will be required to apply for an approach permit from the Montana Department of Transportation. Water. There are 2 residential wells on the property at this time. Public health and safety. Because the individual properties are not being reviewed nor approved for on-site wastewater treatment systems, the owners of the lots will be responsible for ensuring the well influent zone is adhered to. This will help to ensure the potable water source is not contaminated by neighboring septage. Also of significance is the proximity to the Burlington Northern Railroad to Lot B1A. Conclusion. Pursuant to 763207-1 MCA, which states, unless the method of disposition is adopted for the purpose of evading this chapter, the requirements of this chapter may not apply to any division of land that, sub-item A, is created by order of any court of record in this state or by operation of law, or that in the absence of agreement between the parties to the sale, could be created by an order of any court in this state pursuant to the law of eminent domain. According to the survey, the easement for Grandview Loop does not encumber this property. Per this survey, Grandview Loop is identified as a 60-foot public access and utility easement per Book 2, page 4 of plats. No other easements are identified on this property. And that concludes my report.
Okay. So one question I do have, looking at the certificate of survey, at the end of Grandview Loop to the west, that goes from 60 foot down to 30 feet. If lot B1A was to be subdivided in the future, how would that work, since that's only a 30-foot easement?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. They would be required to obtain or create an addition, or add an additional 30 feet to that easement. So there may be a possibility that they could, any future owners or current owners could add that 30 feet on their own property. So to lot B1A, add an additional 30 feet. But that's the very basic answer. Obviously, I would need some investigation as to what is the status of that existing 30 feet
Right.
to ensure that it could be used for a subdivision road.
Very good. I know Megan had some comments. Were those taken care of?
Mr. Chairman, I believe that those comments were taken care of via email. I don't know if you commissioners were a part of that conversation. I know Ms. Kaylin Minor was a part of that conversation with myself and Megan to ensure that the appropriate citations are added to this plat. I know that Megan had some comments that there needs to be an amendment to the plat. So at the conclusion of this meeting today, I'll be sending her comments on to the surveyor. Typically, I don't send those comments until
Okay.
the commission meeting closes, just in case you have additional comments to place on the plat.
All right.
So to answer your question fully, no, they have not been satisfied because I have not contacted the
Okay.
surveyor to let him
All
know.
right. Anything else? Lindsay, do you have
No.
anything?
Nope.
Okay. If nothing else, is there a motion?
I move to approve the Tarbett Smith Court Order Division Exemption Request, Section 11, Township 7 North, Range 1 East.
I will second that motion.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the Tarbett Smith Court Order Division Exemption Request. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next on our agenda was the Amundsen Boundary Location Exemption Request. I believe that is being postponed for further research. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, yes,
Yes.
that has been the request. If you could postpone, there's further research needed to be done by staff.
Okay. Okay. Then next, Hazeman #1 boundary relocation request.
Commissioners, Nicole Brown, Broadwater County Community Development Director and Planner. This is an item that was discussed on September 30th, 2024. The reason it's being called the Hazeman Boundary Location #1, on that date, September 30th, 2024, you had 2 Hazeman Boundary Location requests. So number 2, you did grant approval to the exemption request. The Hazeman Boundary Location #1, you had additional questions regarding the placement of a fence within a potential county roadway. So no changes, well, there were some slight changes to your survey, excuse me, where that boundary was moved to show that, that shift, if you will. But no changes to the staff report. I'm happy to read it into the record again if you would like, but
Not necessary.
I think most importantly, Mr. Robert Hazeman is here to answer your questions today. I know that, I should say I know, I believe that you still had some questions of him regarding that fence. And if that's
Okay.
true, I will take a seat.
So I think we've all received a copy of the resolutions 82-1, the closing of Lucifer Street. And what's important there, it was a closure and not an abandonment. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I think that might have been some of the confusion. on the part of Mr. Hazeman. The COS has been amended to reflect that, is that correct?
That is correct, sir. Yes, the COS has been amended to reflect that road closure of Lucifer Street, not the abandonment. As we know, a closure and an abandonment, are two different, they mean two different things when it comes to roadways, obviously.
So we kind of have two issues. One is the COS, the other is going to be the fence in Lucifer Street.
Did you want a motion on the COS portion of that?
I think it'll have to be a separate motion, yes.
Yeah.
But I want to have a discussion first.
Okay.
So I guess we'll talk with Mr. Hazeman.
Are you asking?
Yes, sir.
Are you asking me a question?
I am. So please state and spell your name for the record.
My name is Robert Hazeman. Haseman is the spelling of my last name.
Okay. So I guess, so do we all understand the confusion with the information you received on the closure of Lucifer Street? Do you understand that?
You understand that?
Do you?
No, I do. I understand.
Yes.
I understand that, yes, in 1982 it was listed as closed and not abandoned.
Okay. All right. So I guess just briefly, I'm going to ask you about the fence. What would you like to do with that fence?
Well, I would like to leave it where it is until if at some date in the future the road is reopened, then I would move it over. But I prefer not to do that. I mean, that's going to cost money to do it. And there are other impediments on that road. I mean, there are trees on that road that would have to be cut down to reopen it. There's a trailer that's on the other side, on the other 30 feet, that would have to be moved to the west somewhat to get it off the road. And, I mean, I've been paying taxes on that extra 30 feet for the last 12 years since I bought it. It just seems like it's reasonable to let me leave the fence there until such time as the road is officially reopened, if ever.
Do you see the I guess why we were questioning it? The problem it poses for the county. Do you understand that? With your fence in the middle of the road.
I'll do whatever you say. If the commission wants me to move the fence, I'll move the fence. But, it just seems impractical to me anyway.
Because here's what will happen. This is a scenario that plays out in my mind. We say, yes, that's fine. Someday down the road, you've sold the property. You're no longer having an investment in that property. How do we convince somebody else to move that fence?
You just reopen the road is what I would say. Reopen the road, and then they would have to move the fence.
That's a pretty simple answer.
But
the reality is, it's going to be a big fight, right? That's the reality.
That there would what?
There'll be a big fight when we go if that road doesn't get reopened, and also you understand that there is a piece of county property at the end of that road that we need access to for whatever reason.
But the county did close the road, so But anyway, I'll do whatever you say.
What's your thoughts, commissioners?
There's no way, and I'm just spitballing right now, is to access the county property. There's no way to do that with the fence there. There's no a gate we can't get through or have an agreement that we can.
And he's right. There's trees in the way. It's been overgrown. Okay. Just what it is a problem that should have been addressed a long time ago, and it falls on us now to make that decision.
One thing I can say, though, I could say that I have a road on my part of the land that we access the irrigation ditch and the pump.
Right.
Well, and the only thing separating the county property from my property is the fence. So there could be a gate put in, and there could be access granted, not to everyone, but to anybody in the county that needed to access the county property.
That was kind of where I was going.
I mean, how many times do they access it? Once every 10 years? You know, I mean, it's not too often.
You never know, is the
Yeah,
point.
I
You
know,
never know,
I
right?
know. I
But
mean,
that was my point. Is there a
Yeah.
way for us to have
Yeah.
an agreement set up to be able to access that?
Yeah. I mean,
That follows the property,
I
right?
think the reason the county owns it because the irrigation ditch goes through there, right? And they would need access if they have to make repairs or clean the ditch.
yeah, because I think isn't it the Broadwater, Missouri Water Users Association?
Except for that one piece.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But I mean,
So weird.
Yeah.
it seems like, I mean, that's something that I would do if the county would do it, but I am a little bit under a timeline as far as getting the boundary relocation, so I'm hopeful that that would be treated as a separate issue and that you would approve the boundary relocation and then.
We understand that. But you know, in business, once you give up your leverage, then you have nothing in the future.
Well, you have me standing up here saying.
And
that
that's what
I
I'm
would do
hoping,
it.
that your word is your bond. Is your word your bond, Mr.
Yes.
Hazeman?
In this case, it would be certainly.
Okay. Any other thoughts or comments? Ms. Kay, what do you think?
Well, Chairman Fulford, thank you. I think that with the adjustment to that survey, it did address those issues that I was most concerned about previously. And what an underlying issue is that we're all kind of dancing around, but it's coming up more and more within Broadwater County, is who has the underlying ownership of roads. That's actually a big question, and it's different depending on if you're in the county, if you're in a city, if you're in an unincorporated town or town site, which I believe Toston was incorporated, then unincorporated. So there's a whole lot of, that's actually some research that I'm actively involved in right now. And we just need to get to the bottom of that research, but it is not done today for purposes of saying who owns that underlying parcel of land where that road previously was open. The road is now closed. So that's something that is going to take a little bit more time and effort, Chairman Fulford. But for the purposes of his boundary relocation, I believe the documents that are submitted are now legally sufficient. Obviously, having someone make a pledge to do what's needed with the fence it makes me feel a lot better. Legally speaking, it's always nice to see it done before you make a final decision, such as you referenced, Chairman Fulford, in business, once that leverage is gone. But I think we have a fair business person and a fair resident here before us today, and hopefully we can continue the fence discussions separate from the boundary relocation consideration by the commission.
Very good. Those are my thoughts as well. I just wanted to make sure everybody was thinking the same way. Anything else? Commissioner Randolph?
No, I think it's on the record, and I believe moving forward, it'll all be good.
Okay. You good with that?
I'm sorry, I can't hear it all.
Okay. We'll discuss it some more, but I think we will treat the fence and your boundary location as two separate issues. The fence issue may come up in the future as we're doing more research on other properties that are in a similar situation as you are right now. We may have to revisit this in the future.
Well,
Okay.
I appreciate it if you
All right.
treat them as two separate issues, for sure.
Thank you very much.
And Mr. Chairman, I appreciate you willing to put up a gate if that's what's decided.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
All right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hazeman. If there are no other comments or questions, is there a motion?
I would move to approve the boundary relocation for Heisman exemption request.
I will second that.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded to approve the Hazeman number 1 boundary location exemption request. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Okay, next on the agenda, Juniper Ridge Minor Subdivision.
Yes, Commissioner Folkford, Commissioner Randolph, and Commissioner Rickmeyer. Nicole Brown here to present the Juniper Ridge final plat approval. I think there was some communication or miscommunication on the agenda item. That should have said Juniper Ridge final plat approval request. That change was made on the posted agenda, just not the agenda that was originally emailed out to the commissioners and sent to the newspaper. So,
Okay.
also, you should have or have had the opportunity to review all of the final plat items based on the findings of fact in order with the list of recommended, or list of conditions, excuse me, that the commissioner signed off on. So the Juniper Ridge minor subdivision was given final, preliminary, I'm so sorry, preliminary plat approval on January 18th, 2024. This subdivision, for the record, is in section 29, township 7 north, range 3 east of Broadwater County. It is located off of US Highway 12 East, approximately 7 miles east of the city of Townsend. So with that, commissioners, I would like to go through the list of conditions and provide evidence that I believe the developers have met these conditions. So with that, condition number 1. Any and all adopted state and county requirements and standards which apply to this proposed subdivision must be met unless otherwise waived for cause by the governing body. Really no tangible item to present to you other than to let you know that this development did meet the Broadwater County subdivision regulations and Montana Code annotated. Condition number 2. Plans for sewage treatment and water supply shall be submitted to the Broadwater County Environmental Health Department for review and approval. The certificate of subdivision approval shall be filed with the final plat. All specifications in the approved plan shall be met. So what you have is a, not really a letter, but an email from our environmental health officer, Megan Bullock, and I'm going to read that into the record. It's very brief. This is to Christy Heineman. Christy, thank you for sending the Juniper Ridge subdivision survey. Both parcels being created are greater than 20 acres in size. Therefore, they are not subject to review under the Sanitation and Subdivisions Act DEQ review. I did notice on the survey that the citation will need to be changed. Rather than using 76410223 MCA, which is simply a definition, the surveyor should cite 764103 MCA, as it describes what constitutes a subdivision requiring a review. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. And that change has been made. Condition number...
Thank you.
I'm sorry, okay. Condition number 3. The subdivider will be required to submit the preliminary and final plat drawings in electronic format to Broadwater County in ArcGIS, AutoCAD, or MicroStation format. Additional materials may be requested by the county in electronic format to facilitate review of application materials. Again, no tangible item for you. I can simply tell you that I have received this item, and it is an electronic file that is saved to my computer. I believe I sent you that file, but without the proper program, you likely were not able to open that, but you at least were able to see that it was received by my office. Condition number 4. Plans for the location and installation of individual mailboxes shall be reviewed and approved by the United States Postal Service prior to installation. The subdivider shall submit documentation from the United States Postal Service verifying their review and approval. When required, the subdivider shall provide an off-street area for mail delivery. Subdivider, its successors, and assigns shall be responsible for all costs associated with meeting this condition of approval. And what you have in your file there is a letter from Christy Heineman and a letter from the Townsend post office, and an email from Tamara Kralev. I probably said that wrong. I apologize, Tamara, who is the postmaster here in Townsend. So that email from Tamara states, Christy Heineman, the post office in Townsend, Montana, does service the address of 729 Highway 12 East, Townsend, Montana. And that is it for those items. So let's see. Okay, sorry, got too many papers flipping here. Condition number 5. Prior to any development, an approach permit shall be requested from the Montana Department of Transportation for the access point off US Highway 12 East. All requirements of the approved permit shall be met. So what you have in your packet is an approved MDT approach permit for the approach off of Highway 12 East. This approval was given on July 22nd of 2005, excuse me, for this approach. And so it's a shared approach for the 2 lots. Item number 6. Prior to submitting the final subdivision plat application, the applicant shall complete a fire protection plan for the purpose of furthering fire protection. The fire protection plan shall be created with concurrence by the Broadwater County Rural Fire District. So to meet this condition of approval, you should have, or you did receive a fire plan that was dated February 1st, 2024. It was signed off by Ed Schindel, Rural Fire Department Chief, on February 1st, 2024. The plan essentially is to remove any vegetation around the existing and proposed home sites, but no additional comments from Ed, so he agreed to this fire plan. Condition number 7. Prior to any development and or soil disturbance, the applicant shall submit a subdivision noxious weed management and revegetation plan for the proposed subdivision to the Broadwater County Weed District for review and approval. All specifications and requirements of the approved plan shall be met at the cost of the applicant. The applicant shall submit documentation to the Broadwater County Community Development Department from the Weed District verifying their review and approval. And I am in possession of the signed and approved Broadwater County Noxious Weed Management and Revegetation Plan. And that has been signed and approved by the Broadwater County Weed Board and the Broadwater County Weed Coordinator. Number 8, the final plat shall be prepared in accordance with the applicable state survey requirements, Montana Subdivision and Platting Act survey requirements, and the county subdivision regulations. The final plat shall be in substantial compliance with the plat and plans submitted for preliminary plat review, except as modified by these conditions. The final plat shall provide for the following. Sub-item A, all existing and proposed utility easements on the subject property, and B, all existing access and utility easements adjacent to the subject property. And those are shown on the final plat itself. And you should have a copy of the smaller version of the plat showing those utility easements. Condition number 9, the book and page reference to the restrictive covenants filed with the county clerk and recorder shall be indicated on the face of the final plat for each phase, and that was amended at the last meeting, so this is not a phase development. In addition, the foregoing restrictive covenant shall be placed upon the property and shall provide for the following. Sub-item A, notice is hereby given that all lots shall be used for residential purposes only, per the subdivision application. B, notice is hereby given that each owner of any lot by acceptance of a deed, therefore, whether or not it shall be so expressed in such deed, waives the right to protest joining or the amendment of a rural improvement district for the installation, maintenance, preservation, and repair of the following: roads that provide access to the subdivision, stormwater improvements for the subdivision, fire protection improvements for the subdivision. C, notice is hereby given that each lot shall be maintained in a weed-free manner, and a noxious weed and revegetation plan has been prepared for the subdivision and is on file with the Broadwater County Clerk and Recorder's Office. D, notice is hereby given of the potential health risk from radon concentrations and that such risk can be evaluated through soil tests and mitigated through radon abatement techniques incorporated into structures. E, notice is hereby given that all structures within the subdivision should be constructed to specifications which meet or exceed equivalent provisions in the applicable state building code for this seismic zone, which is Zone 3. F, notice is hereby given of a restrictive covenant binding the landowner, any heirs, successors, and assigns, and all future owners of property within the subdivision, agreeing therein to hold Broadwater County harmless and indemnify Broadwater County from all claims, demands, obligations, suits, causes of action, damages, and liability, including the county's costs and attorney's fees, arising in any manner whatsoever out of or relating to the existence, use, operation, repair, and or maintenance of the following. Subitem 1, exposure to radon. 2, earthquake fault zone and any seismic activity. And 3, water availability. G, notice is hereby given of the presence of agricultural operations in the vicinity, and such operations may occur at varying times and seasons and include, but are not limited to, the noises and odors due to the operation of machinery, the pasturing and feeding of livestock, irrigation, and the application of fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides to fields. H, notice is hereby given that domestic pets should be restrained on the property at all times. And these items are included in the proposed, or in the covenants to be recorded if this subdivision is given final plat approval. I want to note that this next item I'm about to read, item number 10, is also included in the covenants, but not in the previous A through H covenants. It is a separate covenant. Number 10, the subdivider shall include a notarized right to farm declaration with final plat affirming that no agricultural or farming operation, place, establishment, or facility, or any of its appurtenances, or the operation thereof, is or becomes a public or private nuisance because of the normal operations thereof, as a result of changed residential or commercial conditions in or around it locality of the agricultural or farming operation, place, establishment, or facility has been in operation longer than the complaining resident has been in possession or commercial establishment has been in operation. And that is being added to the covenants because that is the very best location to get it into any future property owner's hands. Number 11, prior to submitting the final plat for each phase, again, that was amended, my apologies, the following improvements shall be installed or otherwise guaranteed. A, any necessary improvements required by the stormwater drainage plan, weed management plan, fire protection plan, or approach permits. B, installation of mail delivery facilities, and C, utilities abutting and available to each lot. So you can see from the utility map that utilities are abutting and available to each lot. No necessary improvements required by the stormwater drainage plan because one was not required to be completed since it did not need to get DEQ approval. No additional requirements by the weed management plan, no additional requirements by the fire protection plan as evidenced through previous conditions, and no additional requirements from the approach permit. So the biggest item being the utilities abutting and available to each lot. The utility map does show that. Condition number 12. All areas in excess of 25% slope shall be shown as no build zones on the final plat. And that has been done. You can see the areas of no build zone are shaded and identified as no build zone on that plat. Condition number 13, prior to final plat approval, the applicant shall A, provide proof that all real property taxes and special assessments assessed and levied on the property are paid for the current tax year, including any past delinquencies. And you should have a copy of the tax bill showing they are paid as of, let's see, what is the date of print? I thought that would show on here. Oh, October 15th, 2024. Just for your information, the public's information, the developer's information, anytime a plat is recorded in the clerk and recorder's office, they always check to ensure that those taxes are paid before the plat is recorded. So while this receipt was printed October 15th, 2024, we do know that we are going to be entering into a new tax cycle. Prior to this plat or this survey, this subdivision being recorded, the clerk and recorder's office always verifies that those taxes are paid. So there's this kind of double check. Okay. Just I want you to know that because of the date and because of the timing of this meeting. Item number 13B, provide documentation showing that the applicant is the lawful owner of the property with the apparent authority to subdivide the same and showing the names of lien holders or claimants of record. And you have a platting certificate showing Jonathan Heineman and Mary Heineman as joint tenants with the right of survivorship owning this property. The date on this is October 10th, 2024. Platting certificates are good for a period of 180 days, which is the equivalent of 6 months. So we are well within that 6-month time period. And with that, Commissioners, that concludes the list of conditions. I believe that the developers have met the conditions of approval, but they are here today. Ms. Mary Heineman and Christy Heineman are here to answer any questions you may have, should you have any.
No, I don't. I guess, thanks for adding the no build zones to the plat. I mean, that's important into the future, so thank you for doing that.
No problem. We appreciate that.
I don't have any additional questions or comments. Do you guys?
No, very complete.
Yep.
Thank you.
Is there a motion?
I move to approve Juniper Ridge Minor Subdivision, Section 29, Township 7 North, Range 3 East.
We need to do that with the recommended. That's already, this was done. Preliminary, right?
That is correct, Mr. Chair. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that good?
Very good.
All right.
Yep.
So I will second the motion.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to approve Juniper Ridge Minor Subdivision Final Plat. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners, and I will have the final plat on my big table this afternoon with a special pen for you to sign. Special pen.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for coming in.
Thank you for attending. It's always good.
You can stick around for all the exciting stuff now, approving claims. And
They laugh as they
as they walk out the
As
door.
they walk out.
Yeah. All right, fine.
Next time we should have food to keep people
Oh,
here.
right.
No.
Especially when somebody heats up their soup in the back.
I know.
That's
I
for that.
know.
That's not helping, is it?
Oh.
It's better than
Okay.
before the meeting.
Okay, here we go.
All righty, so let's see, I'm gonna get these in order here.
Have information.
September. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna have to write this all down.
Please.
I'll go slow. Okay, minutes from August 7th.
Holy cow, right.
We can do this in one motion, can
We can.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm just reading them slow so that we all get 'em.
Please.
August 28th. September 30th. October 23rd. All right. Is there a motion?
I move to approve minutes from August 7th, August 28th, September 30th, and October 23rd.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to approve minutes from August 7th, August 28th, September 30th, October 23rd. Any public discussion? Any public discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Have you ever had public discussion on minutes before?
Only on occasion, but very rarely. That's because our clerk recorder does such a fab job that there's never any question, right?
Thank you so much, Commissioner.
All right. I'll do claims and then I'll do Great West after that. How's that?
Perfect.
Okie dokie. Claimed in the amount of $55,650 and must be 4 cents. Can't tell by the tape. 40 cents.
I would move to approve the claims in the amount of $55,650.40.
I will second that.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve claims in the amount of $55,650.40. Any public discussion? Any public discussion? Any public discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Oh, jeez. Just give them to you. I got it signed.
Okey-doke. Claim in the amount of $10,147.79.
I move to approve claims for $10,147.79.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's made and seconded to approve claims in the amount of $10,147.79. Any public discussion? Any public discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Claims in the amount of $11,086.92.
I would move to approve the claims in the amount of $11,086.92.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to approve claims in the amount of $11,086.92. Any public discussion? Any public discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Claim the amount of $13,839.14.
Move to approve claims for $13,839.14.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve claims in the amount of $13,839.14. Any public discussion? Any public discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, we have one item on our consent agenda today. It is for task order number 13, the Parks Master Plan. Lindsay, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes. So this has come before the commission. It went to the trust board. The County Parks and Rec Board is got a grant to do a master plan that will include the county recreation property out by, it includes Rod and Gun, the golf course area, not the golf course itself, but west of the golf course, along Delger and Kenton Lanes, and as well as the 10 acres on Centerville and Mill Road. So that is kicking off soon. The county contributed half of the matching costs. Parks and Rec put in from their account half of the match as well. So this is the task order to get things rolling with Great West.
Okay.
The total of the master plan is $45,000, and Parks and Rec did get a full grant for that, a grant for the non-matching part of it from the trust board.
Okay. When are they planning to kick this off, Lindsay? Do you know?
Yes, soon. We have a site visit November 4th with Great West. They're going to be looking at the property, doing some drone footage, some different things. We're going to get a survey out. It's going to run for a couple weeks. It's going to be an online survey. There will be members of the Parks and Rec Board handing out, I want to say like small flyers with the QR code to the survey during the Christmas stroll. It'll be about a 2-week survey, and there's going to be an open house kind of workshop on this. The community will be invited on the 21st of January.
Okay, very good.
Yep.
And I think this has been posted on our website as well, but the scope of services is part of this task order. It tells everything that will be taking place as part of this task order that Great West Engineering will be performing. So no need to read that, a couple of pages worth, but just so everybody knows it is on our website.
And if I may, Mr. Chair, the board is really encouraging public participation in this. I know we've had a lot of surveys over the past few years. It's been a little quiet for a while, but this is a considerable amount of county property, and there are a lot of interest groups when it comes to recreation and sports and whatnot here. So they are really wanting people to get involved and get their feedback.
All right, good.
And help us plan.
I think the BCDC listserv is a good place to post it.
Yep.
And we have our own listserv within the county, so we should be able to get that word out there.
Yep.
I imagine, are they going to do something in the paper as well?
Yep, I think there's going to be something in the paper, on the website,
Okay.
whatnot.
Our new website?
Probably. Depending
Hopefully.
on the timing, yeah, probably.
All right, any other questions or comments? Okay, is there a motion?
I move to approve task order number 13, Parks Master Plan with Broadwater County and Great West Engineering for on-call engineering services, project number 1-20244.
Perfect.
Do you want to add that dollar?
I was going to ask if
Yes.
you wanted that. It's for a total amount of $45,000.
Thank you.
I will second that motion.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded to approve task order 13, Parks Master Plan, Broadwater County on-call engineering services with Great West Engineering project number 1-20244 in the amount of $45,000. Is there any public discussion? Any public discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, anything else to come before the commission?
I don't have anything.
Lindsay, anything?
No?
Okay, I don't either, so.
Enjoy the ghost stroll.
Yes, tomorrow
And
night.
vote.
Vote, get out and
vote.
vote. Seems like our residents have been voting, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that they're out doing that and getting registered, so.
And please, please be, give grace and some patience to all our officials working in the elections department. There's a lot of requirements going on right now. There's a lot of stuff happening. It's very busy and high stress, so.
Very good. If there's nothing else, I'll go ahead and close our meeting. It's 12:12. How's that?
Pretty solid meeting.